next several days, we'll be doing a review. We're going to be reviewing the last few weeks worth of content. I know you've been seeing a whole lot of different events in order, lots of them, from the Missouri Compromise, Compromise of 1850, then we looked at the Fugitive Slave Act, Kansas-Nebraska Act, a whole lot of things took place. And so this graphic organizer is going to have us review all these events, and what these events did, how they're related, is they all arguably led up to a civil war. Now, the Civil War was the easiest thing to say is that it was between northern and southern states, and mostly free states versus slave states, although there were some slave states that did end up staying in the Union or with the northern states, fighting against the southern states, or what would be called a Confederacy. Now, you would have read yesterday's slideshow on the election of 1860, and once Abraham Lincoln was elected president, some states began to leave the Union. That's called secession. Like South Carolina started, and other states like Georgia and North Carolina, Virginia, they eventually all kind of went with those southern states, creating what they called their own nation, the Confederate States of America. And they wanted to preserve slavery, the right to own slaves. And so that is something you would have read about. What we're going to do, the way you do this assignment is we go back as early as the Constitution, the writing of the Constitution. And if you recall, there were many compromises made during the writing of that Constitution. And we looked at something called the 3/5 Compromise. Now, that's pretty far back to remember what we looked at back in October, I think it was. And so what I've done is I have placed in Google Classroom slideshows that we have already read, and I put next to each topic review. So if, say you don't really remember the 3/5 Compromise, or you remember some things, what you do is you read over it. You can scan read. The point of the 3/5 Compromise, if you recall, was that it was to count slaves as 3/5 of a person for determining taxes and for representation. And the southern states ended up getting more representatives. The northern states made sure the South paid more taxes. And so this kind of quieted down the argument over slavery for some time. So you can write a summary of the major details of the event. This compromise, just whatever it did, it allowed southern states to count their slaves, right, for representation. Something to that order. And the number 2 question is, how does this event affect relations between the northern and southern states? So I might argue that this compromise helped to settle the differences for a temporary time. It did kind of quiet down some of the issues, right? So this compromise helped to quiet down some of the tensions regarding slavery, because both the North and South got a bit of what they wanted. Because both North and South got parts of what they wanted. Great. And now we're going to rate the level of drama. How much drama did each event cause between the North and South? So if you felt that the drama was very high from this very event, you would highlight it an 8 or a 7 or a 6. Given that this is an early compromise of 1787, it's one of the first events, I'm going to rate this pretty low. I'm going to just give it a 1 because I think it's fairly low, and I'm just going to pick a highlighting color. And in fact, you can pick any highlighting color that you like. That's here, whatever, yellow. And you're going to say why, though. You want to explain why. This compromise did not cause a great level of drama because whatever, it settled issues, something to that effect. Now you do the same for the Missouri Compromise, and then the same for the outcome of the Mexican-American War. And you can see that I've reviewed this part for you. You just need to rate how high the drama was. We're going to do this for the next several days, and so I hope this instructional video gives you some idea on how to do day 1, or rather row 1, 2, and 3.